Hey gamers, welcome. I am John, host of Video Games and the World, and today's episode is about the LGBT themes and characters in video games, and also about gamers that represent the LGBT community. Now, I'm a heterosexual myself and I'm friendly towards the LGBT people. This episode is dedicated to all the gamers who represent the LGBT community on Pride Month. Now, why exactly June is the month of LGBT Pride? Because of the Stonewall riots in New York of June of 1969. And in those times, LGBT people didn't have enough rights and were not acknowledged as equals because of what they were. However, in the middle of the 1970s, one man in San Francisco made all the difference and helped his own people be recognized as equals. His name was Harvey Milk. After Milk, things started to change, but still, the LGBT community faced a lot of discriminations in schools, in jobs, at homes, and by a lot of people, as there have been youths who were bullied for being what they were, and others were fired from their teaching jobs fearing that they would do something nasty to children, which is not true. A lot of them are not capable of doing such things. Years passed and the LGBT were getting the same rights as heterosexuals, women, and other ethnic minorities, and there were more progressing steps such as earning the right to marry and adopt children. Even in entertainment, there were LGBT themes in movies, shows, and sitcoms such as Seinfeld, Will and Grace, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Arrow, and even video games started having them as well. Of course, there were so many people against them getting married and even extreme discrimination against them being promoted by the church I shouldn't even talk about, because I would call it a cult rather than a church. 2 years ago, in 2015, they succeeded in legalizing the right to marry nationwide, and that's great. Now, I must confess that there was a time I was closed-minded towards them, which got me into an argument with a lesbian and coworker. After that, I took the time to think about it and learned that they're all the same as everybody else. I'm a non-denominational myself, and I say they're God's kids too. Leave them be if they want to be so happy with each other. Over time, I have learned to be more open-minded and friendly towards them, as I have a family member who is part of that community. But enough of that. So, let us talk about LGBT gamers and also LGBT themes in video games, and how games are not anti-LGBT as some people might claim. So with all that said and done, let's mosey. Let's move out. Let's come out. Just kidding. Let us begin. Gamer, written with a Y, or gay gamer, is a video gamer who identifies as part of the LGBT community and have active interests in video games. Bisexual or transgender gamers are also part of this term. This demographic has been the subject of 2 large surveys that attracted press coverage by Jason Rockwood in 2006, who noted the level of prejudice that gamers endure, and another one in 2009 focusing on what gamers expect of video games. A gaming convention oriented to LGBT gaming and geek culture took place on August 3 and 4 on 2013 in San Francisco. Some game publishers introduce LGBT themes in their games to attract this market segment, and news companies cover salient examples of gay-friendly content and incidents and controversies that these themes raise among their player bases. Chris Vizzini, owner of the gaming site Gamer.org, which has been shut down unfortunately, was involved with several online communities between 2007 and 2013 in a controversy and legal dispute over the trademark of the term gamer, which ended with Vizzini surrendered the right to the term and the trademark was canceled. There have been college surveys about game gamers in 2006 and 2009. In 2006, the University of Illinois had a sociological study that looked at the gay gamer subgroup, focusing on the profile of a gamer and concerns they have regarding the perception of them in the gaming community and visibility of gay characters in games. The study's author noted the level of prejudice that gamers endure. Gay gamers experience a double-edged sword of prejudice. the mainstream gay culture and media is not supportive of video games. Then you have the video game culture that is not supportive of gay culture. So, you have these people stuck in the middle who have this double-edged prejudice. With about 10,000 respondents, the survey exhibited a reverse bell curve of gamer sexuality, with most people identifying as either completely heterosexual or homosexual. Only a very small minority of the respondents to the first survey supported the use of the term gamer. In late 2009, Full Sail University student Paul S. Nowak began a second survey of gamerplay preferences. The survey focused on questions of content such as plot, genre, customization, and other in-game experiences. This survey reported that over 7,000 people participated. The results of Nowak's survey were used by him to build a profile of the gay gamer community and gain unique insight into this financially untapped demographic. These results were not published in an academic journal, though a later Nowak's book lists gamers as preferring role-playing video games pertaining to the hardcore explorer achiever gamer type, and appreciating good plot and good quality homosexual content, which he defines as a game content which reflects homosexual orientation in a positive or equal to heterosexual orientation context. Inside the industry, while the majority of developers are white and heterosexual, this demographic was challenged strongly by the record-breaking success of The Sims. Video game developer Maxis had resisted Will Wright's goal of creating the title on the grounds that girls don't play video games. The title was seen as unappealing to young heterosexual males. In the 1990s, the industry began to make some effort to market games to women by creating software titles with strong, independent female characters. Even some games that are considered to appeal mainly to the non-traditional demographic continue to censor homosexuality. But some companies are now moving to further expand their marketing base to include the perceived market of affluent homosexual young men by including LGBT characters and supporting LGBT rights. Critics of the suppression of gay identity often conclude that as homosexuality is normalized in broader culture, it will be in video games as well. Clive Barker, the mastermind behind the hit video games Undying, Nightbreed, and Jericho, is openly gay. Mr. Barker is also known for the hit movies Hellraiser, Gods and Monsters, Lord of Illusions, and so on. When it comes to romantic themes in video games, the majority of these romances of the characters in love are heterosexual. Of course, these examples are Mario and Peach, Link and Zelda, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, Cloud and Tifa, Squall and Renoa, and many more. But that doesn't mean that LGBT romances in gaming does not exist. One of the most well-known LGBT romances in video games is Riley and Ellie in the hit 2013 video game, The Last of Us. Recurring tropes, themes, and archetypes have developed in the gaming industry in regards to the LGBT identity. These are similar to other forms of popular culture, such as Hollywood films like Brokeback Mountain, Milk, Moonlight, and TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Will and Grace, Arrow, Supergirl, The 100, and Steven Universe that dealt with LGBT sexuality, romance, and so on. However, LGBT characters and themes in video games existed long before the 21st century. In the 1980s, Super Mario Bros. 2 had a character called Birdo or Birdetta, which was one of Wart's henchmen and was a male who believed he was a female, which means that it was Nintendo's very first transgender character, not to mention the first such character of the franchise of the Mario Brothers. Also, Final Fight had a trans woman character called Poison, although it's still very debatable up until this day. Even Phantasy Star 2 had an LGBT character called Uzvestia, teaching piano and will teach the music piano technique needed to progress in the game to more cheaply to male characters because they look cute. In the 1990s, LGBT characters started to be revealed a bit more, such as Ash in Streets of Rage 3, a gay male boss who wears tight clothes and has effeminate movements. Chrono Trigger had a character called Flea, in which Frog tells the crew before the battle that Flea was no ordinary woman. But Flea replied that he was a guy, much to the shock of Marley. Notably, Flea stated in a self-referential manner, "Male or female, what difference does it make? Power is beautiful, and I've got the power." There were also other games featuring LGBT characters in that decade, such as Saga Frontier, Bahamut Lagoon, Devil Summoner, and Fallout 2. Even Shin Megami Tensei as well had it. Fallout 2 was the first video game of the series and of the time to feature a same-sex marriage before Skyrim existed. Final Fantasy VII also had a memorable scene when Cloud enters a Honeybee Inn during his journey to find Tifa, which is optional. In a Honeybee Inn, Cloud can have a choice of entering a room where he passes out and wakes up with Mucky waking him up, or have a bath with a group of gay bodybuilders led by Mookie. An even more memorable scene is to infiltrate Don Corneo's mansion when Cloud is cross-dressing as a woman. In the 2000s, LGBT themes and characters started to have more relevance. One of the examples given of these themes is Queen Aquen of Final Fantasy IX. Queen Aquen comes from a genderless tribe known as a Ku, and is referred to as a she or a he. Resident Evil Code Veronica central antagonist Alfred Ashford is called a cross-dressing freak by Claire Redfield. However, Alfred Ashford had this sick obsession with his twin sister Alexia Ashford, and he posed as her during the first part of the half of the game. Now, Alfred cross-dressing as his sister is a reference to Norman Bates cross-dressing as his own mother, Mrs. Bates, in the hit movie Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty had a bisexual character called Vamp. In one coded conversation between Raiden and Snake, Snake reveals that Vamp is a bisexual and was the lover of Fortune's father. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater had two LGBT characters that were lovers, Rykov and Volgin. Other games featuring same-sex relationships and LGBT characters in that time were Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, The Ballad of Gay Tony, Siphon Filter, Dark Mirror, Vice City Stories, and many more. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn had a character called Heather and was considered a lesbian since in the Japanese version it is said that she joined the army to meet the pretty girls. In the first two Mass Effect games, players could decide whether Shepard was a male or a female. The female Shepard had the ability to form a romance with a male or a female. However, the male Shep would not form a relationship with a man until Mass Effect 3. Not to forget also that Assassin's Creed's Abul Nuqoud, one of Altair's targets, was heavily implied to be gay. He believes that people hate him because he is different, and he is shown caressing the cheek of one of his male guards during his angry tirade, and claims that he cannot serve the cause of a god who calls him an abomination, which is a reference to a verse of the Bible that ticks off a lot of gays and lesbians off, Leviticus 20:13, and I'd rather not recite it because I don't want any problems with you people. A well-known gay character in Knights of the Old Republic is Juhani. Interestingly, there was a bug that made Juhani respond to advances from either gender, but it was eventually patched out so she remained a lesbian. There were various other games where gamers could decide that their avatars pursued people of the opposite or the same gender in MMORPG such as World of Warcraft, or in other games such as Dragon Age, Saints Row, and many more. And finally, in the 2010s, there were more LGBT characters representing the LGBT in video games. In Mass Effect, the male Shepard could finally have a same-sex relationship with a male, just like the female Shepard pursue a same-sex relationship. In the video game The Elder Scrolls Skyrim, gamers were allowed to marry someone of the same gender as well, and so did Dragon's Dogma, Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, Dragon Age, and even The Legend of Korra, in which of course it was revealed that Korra is a bisexual and had a loving relationship with Asami. The Last of Us featured a same-sex relationship between Ellie and Riley, and this became not only a media sensation, but also a step into praising the progress of LGBT representation in video games. In Life is Strange, Max and Chloe can end up romantically involved depending on the player's choice. Mortal Kombat X introduced its very first gay character, Kun Jin, who is Kung Lao's younger cousin. Fire Emblem Fates could allow gamers to form same-sex relationships, and Fire Emblem's echoes as well. Another well-known game with LGBT characters and relationships is the hit Blizzard video game, Overwatch. On Christmas of 2016, Tracer was revealed to be a gay character in the comic book of the game. There are also other various LGBT characters in the game aside from Tracer. Since the creation of that game, developers clearly stated that Overwatch will have LGBT characters. Mass Effect Andromeda included two bisexual aliens named PB and Vitra. The ship's science officer, Dr. Suvi Anwar, is a lesbian, and the ship's engineer, Gil Brody, is gay. Reyes Vidal and Kerry Tevesa are both bisexual characters who can be encountered during the game. The main character, depending on their gender, can start a romance with any of them. I believe LGBT representations in gaming are a good thing as much as female representations are, and I can quote one of my favorite comic book artists, Jeff Johns. We live in a diverse society, and video games are a reflection of this. There should be characters for everyone. Because in video games, we've seen representations of the empowerment of women, like Samus Aran, Tifa Lockhart, and many more. Life lessons being taught and how gaming has brought people together. In my honest opinion, being a gamer shouldn't have anything to do with gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, and ethnicity. The same way that loving comics, sci-fi, action, and fantasy films and shows should have nothing to do with who or what you are. I'm a straight non-denominational gamer who loves gaming. Ask any gamer, any real gamer. It don't matter what console you're playing on, or whether you're male or a female, whether you're straight, gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, whether you're white, black, Latino, Asian, or Arabic. Gaming is gaming. The very first GamerX convention was open in the late summer of 2013, and there were over 1,400 attendees. Located in San Francisco, California, and the special guests were Ellen McLean, Zach Wiener, Matthew Michael Brown, Anna Anthropy, John Patrick Lowry, and Pandora Box. I remember Matthew Michael Brown in the short-lived PSN TV series, The Tester. His nickname in the show was Gamer, and was the very first LGBT contestant to win the competition, and he was very much loved by his castmates in the loft, including War Princess, Cheska, and Mo Chocolate as well. From what I could tell, the hostess of the show, Meredith Molinari, was rooting for him all the way since the final episode. GamerX was founded by Matt Kahn, a gay man and lifelong gamer who felt larger gaming conventions like E3 were at the time unwelcoming places for LGBT gamers. The first instance of GamerX was financed through a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter and occurred on August 3rd and 4th, 2013 in San Francisco, California. Organizers have said the event is about uniting gay gamers, not creating a division among them, as they want to create a safe place for LGBT gamers. The planned convention began with significant news coverage of its initial Kickstarter launch, but the event achieved more widespread attention after the anti-gay Westboro Baptist Church, known widely as a hate group that pickets espousing homophobic statements, announced that they will protest the convention. When that happened, a lot of people were upset, including the LGBT gamers, and bloggers were furious that the WBC had planned to picket the convention. Bloggers that lambasted the WBC were Alpha Omega Sin, among many others. GamerX, with a Kickstarter project, launched on August 1, 2012, which was covered by sites such as Examiner and GamePolitics.com. The convention raised over $14,000 in its first 2 days and exceeded its goal of $25,000 as early as August 6 and ended with over $90,000. Throughout the fundraising campaign, organizers added new support levels in addition to existing support levels that include admission to the event and voice acting from Ellen Lane. At a session during the convention, Ling took part as an assistant to a marriage proposal to help an attendee propose to his boyfriend by voicing a version of the song Still Alive with reworked lyrics. GamerX was held at the Intercontinental Hotel between July 11-13 to 2014 in downtown San Francisco. It featured Darren Young, the first openly gay wrestler in WWE, who revealed that he will be a playable character in the upcoming WWE 2K15 at the time. And finally, in conclusion, I believe that this was a very interesting topic to talk about since this is Pride Month, and I think that LGBT gamers are very interesting people, and it was really awesome playing games that have themes and characters representing the LGBT, like The Last of Us and the Mass Effect games as well. While the industry mostly is heterosexual, is a great thing that LGBT people have a chance to create games of their own and even create characters that represent their community. It's kind of like Rebecca Sugar when she created Steven Universe and used her experiences as a bisexual woman to put LGBT themes and characters in her cartoon, which was pretty awesome. I also believe that it's a good thing that there are more LGBT representations in gaming because people need characters that can represent them and someone they can relate to, as gaming feeds a core need of relatedness. And that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen. If you have something to say about this episode, comment, share, rate, and subscribe, please. So here's a preview of my next episode, as we now have 2 episodes left to end the first season of Video Games and the World. This will be the next episode, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate the release of a Netflix animated series based on one of my favorite franchises of all time, Castlevania. This is John, host of Video Games and the World. Have a good one, gamers. And to all the LGBT gamers out there, rock on and play on. Bye-bye.